UCY.TV network.
Hey everybody, it's 8:01. I'm your host, John Brown, and this is Spam. I'm joined, like always, by my co-host, Nick. Are you there, Nick?
John, it's good to be back together, doing a show together from the beginning once again. It's been a few weeks. This is our 29th Spam together, which is more spams than the 29th that we've done together. But we recently just hit a milestone. It's been 1 year of us doing radio together.
Whoa. Wow. We're basically Mike Francesa. That's it.
Yeah, so if you want to talk to us, come talk. You gotta be doing this for a long time, you know? But listen, if you want to give us a call, 1-718-717-8296, or write to us in the UCY lobby chat. And we did tweet out on our official account before. Breaking news, we got John's tax returns 2005, and it turns out the guy was in school, so he didn't file his taxes. John, what did you think of that ridiculous report by Rachel Maddow last night?
I think it's just another instance of cried wolf. This big buildup, this big talk, and everybody, oh, we're finally got him. Oh, he got him. I don't know what they think they're going to find in a tax return that's going to impeach a president, but it's just nonsense. I think this actually
ends up that he gave $38 million in taxes back, and even MSNBC.com and CNN were ripping Rachel over this because it was just nonsense.
Huge hype machine. She had it for a couple of days now because she had to verify it was true, that they were real or whatever. But she doesn't put enough time and effort into, I don't know, to think if that's even a story. Like, the idea, she's like clickbait. She's like a live action clickbait. It's just bullshit. But this is a good story for Trump because A, it takes the steam, all the air out of the sails of that stupid tax story, and it just lands another big giant blow to fake news.
Right, and you know you're an idiot when Rosie O'Donnell comes at you. She tweeted Maddow saying 2005. Seriously? That she said she doesn't need to mislead, lies of omission, or blatant not good for anyone. So even Rosie was like, "What are you doing?" Rosie does not like Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's not even if you're a Donald Trump fan. You just you couldn't watch that 90-minute disaster the other night and not just shake your head, and go, ugh, what are you doing? Because it's worse than Geraldo opening that vault. All this buildup and no payoff. Now what it does is, it insulates Trump if he did, if something does come out of his tax returns. It's just, this is another instance of it being literally nothing. The great thing that came out of this, if you look at his percentage of tax paid comparatively to the last few presidents and last couple presidents, candidates, he's paid more taxes than Bush, than Obama, than
Right.
Hillary, than Bernie. So I guess that whole he doesn't pay his taxes thing is completely out the window.
Yeah, and for more stories on this and other things similar, visit our newest sponsor and check out their website, www.afteractionreporting.com, for all the things you need to know. After there's action, there's reporting. Afteractionreporting.com. John, anything to add about this website?
So I'm the webmaster of this said site, the founder. I'm sort of like the Steve Bannon of this particular site. So this week was the first time we hit over 100,000 unique views in the month of March. So this has been our best month ever. I originally started the website about 3-4 months ago. Right before the election, Hillary Clinton's personal account blocked me on Twitter, and that's when I was like, all right, I need to set up some insulation between me and my opinions. And this is the creation. So I just added some advertising on there. It's not like click crazy or anything, but gotta make a little bit of money. It's working out pretty well.
There you have it. So that's afteractionreporting.com, and you can check things out there. And if you want to discuss anything with us, once again, you can write to us in the chat. Give us a call, 718-717-8296, or tweet us. John is at S_sports, and I'm at Nick_Durst. And the other things we are discussing tonight is the big snowstorm that hit the Northeast yesterday or this week with lots of ice. We're going to talk a little football, New York Giants and free agency, the Winter Classic, NHL's Winter Classic, New Year's Day 2018 coming to Citi Field in Queens, Beauty and the Beast controversy, the 30 for 30 Mike and the Mad Dog, can a woman coach in the pros, and later on in the show, World Baseball Classic discussion with Jamie Rosner. He'll be coming on once again, talk a little baseball, the World Baseball Classic with him. But John, in case anyone's wondering, someone's going to be missing. We're not having our usual 10 at 10 segment coming up in 3 minutes. Tell everybody why.
Yeah, so last week when I wasn't around, I guess some stuff went down, and he sort of jumped. He bailed on live TV. He sort of he sort of pulled the Don Lemon, just sort of walked away. I guess something came up, but he'll be back next week. He's going to serve his 1 week suspension, and I think he'll be good to go.
Yeah, so no 10 at 10 this week, and a lot of people have been a little annoyed with him. So we have a comment from Ian Lone Frog in the chat saying, "I just love your show so much, but I have to go. I will listen to the podcast on YouTube." All right, well, thanks, Ian Lone Frog. Really appreciate that. And some people in the chat making believe that Rosie O'Donnell, so that's great. And yeah, a lot of these people last week, they said, we need to have a lot of sports next week. You talked too much politics last week, and we definitely agreed. So let's talk a little sports here. We briefly touched on it last week, John, at the end when you were on. NFL free agency, the Patriots are just dominating right now. It's pretty pathetic how the rest of the league doesn't even try. I would say the Patriots are already the favorites to repeat for the Super Bowl.
Listen, it's not just Brady and Belichick. It's the whole system. They don't pay guys over 30, and they don't let people just walk for nothing. They turn them into draft picks. They have like a nice pipeline, and because they've had so much success, guys are completely overvalued coming out of there. The Matt Castle phenomenon, it happens all the time, and we're seeing it happen again right now with Garoppolo. It's gonna happen all over again. Somebody's gonna overpay for him, and he's gonna come out, he'll be all right, or he'll suck, one or the other, who knows. And it doesn't matter because New England will left their way all the way to the bank.
I don't think they're going to trade Garoppolo, because I think they actually think that he's going to replace Brady in a few years. They did draft him in the second round. They haven't moved him yet, but they want a first-round pick for him. No one's bitten yet. But they were able to get Brandon Cooks for basically nothing. They brought in Eli from the Panthers, I believe, and they brought over Clemore from the Bills. They re-signed Hightower today. The Jets are trying to get him, but I mean, seriously, if you're a player and the Jets want you and the Patriots want you, where are you gonna go?
Yeah, it's not even close. Like, why bother? The Jets are in a situation, they're playing in New York, which is still good, but they just had a reputation for being underachieving, for just being really terrible. Just really, they showed their ass. They've only gotten worse. They've gotten worse since Rex was fired, which is sad to say. I can't believe it.
Yeah, maybe they should bring back John Idzik. He cleared all that cap space. We got some more comments here. So, I Am Lone Frog says, let's do sports. All right, sounds good. That's what we're doing. And Brady Bunch 12 says, my boy, Jimmy G. Matty Blues says, geez, the politics portion didn't last very long. Back to the comfort zone. We're comfortable talking about everything. John's an expert in many things. I'm an expert in many things. It's our show. We like to jump around, mix things up. We'll talk a little more on the political side in a little bit when we talk about Beauty and the Beast and the controversy there. But last week we were told we didn't talk about sports. So you could thank your other fellow UCY lobby chatters for us talking sports right now. And back to free agency. So the Patriots are looking good. The best move in free agency so far has got to be the Giants signing Brandon Marshall for 2 years for $12 million. Quite a steal.
Love it. We get a nice veteran presence, a guy who's been a headache in the past, but he's been on his best behavior the last couple of years. He's a 1,000-yard receiver over and over and over again. He doesn't need to be the guy here because that's Odell. So he'll be the number 2 option. We got him for a song and a dance, super cheap. Love that signing. I think that was really smart, opportunistic. We didn't go crazy over trying to bring back Cruz. We didn't think we were in a time machine. We made a good, smart football decision. I like it.
Right. So, obviously, Marshall's a tall receiver, and that's what the Giants have been lacking as of late. Now, John, the last time the Giants had a tall receiver, it was Hakeem Nicks. He's over 6 foot, 6'1", and you know what happened? They won the Super Bowl. And before that, the time they had a tall receiver that was tall, they had Plaxico Burress. And before he went and ruined the Giants' season by shooting himself, he's 6'5". Guess what happened, John? They won the Super Bowl. So my question for you is, could Brandon Marshall, who's very tall, 6'4", lead the Giants to the Super Bowl? I have a feeling you think they can get there with him.
Well, absolutely. Listen, I think the team that they ran out there last year could have gone to the Super Bowl. Their defense has taken that next step. They're that much better. But, what it really comes down to, it's not even wide receiver. Even if we didn't add Marshall, I think that's just a plush. What I don't like and what makes me very nervous is the fact that, Eric Flowers, starting at left tackle, our offensive line needs some fixing for 2 fronts. A, to protect Eli so you can get the ball to Odell and to Marshall, to all these weapons. And you got to start running the ball. We saw some flashes and some signs with Perkins last year, but, Jennings is a grand old man. He's always hurt. He's too old. I like Vereen. I think he's a great football player, but I think he's on the wrong side of 30. I think he's, sort of broken. So it doesn't matter who we put back there. If our offensive line can't block, if we are terrible at run blocking, we're not going to be able to run the ball. So
right. The NFL draft coming up, obviously they'll have to draft an offensive line. They just signed one, but they got another one. I Am Lone Frog brings another point. Tight ends. I agree with this guy. Will Ty, he's great. I love him. They need to get another tight end as well. So hopefully in the draft they go after someone. I would also say that they need to get a linebacker, but they just never seem to draft linebackers. I don't understand it.
I think they're under the idea that under the impression anyway that they could sort of build a linebacker rather than draft one. I don't really agree with that. But if you look around the league, there's plenty of people in this league who have gotten burnt by going after high-end, big talent linebackers out of college. Because, I don't think the game really, a linebacker who's amazing in college might be terrible in the NFL. So, it doesn't really translate. So it is a little bit different. I don't know. I think they should do something. There has to be something, something has to go on. But I'm not really sure what it's going to be yet. But honestly, their defense has been fine. We could bring some guys in, play linebacker. I thought we stopped the run phenomenally last year. I'm not even worried about the run. I just want linebacker.
Luckily, JPP's back. Let's hope Hankins can come back as well, because the D-line was very good. Definitely, most definitely the strength of the team last year.
Absolutely. I got to say, signing Snacks was very, very, very good signing. And, as I know, unlike other leagues, major sports, you can't really fix your team through free agency. But I got to give Reese credit where credit is due. He's done a very good job of free agency. He fixed the corner position that was a real problem for us. He cemented that D line with another signing between Jennings and Snacks. Um, I gotta say he did a very good job, and I put my faith in him. On the defensive side, I think Spagnola gets the best out of guys, and we can sort of patchwork it together. It's this offensive line, man. That's what I'm. I think our first round draft pick needs to be a left tackle, and it needs to be a big time run blocker. And
Plus,
I think
the Giants, we know their needs. Each year we know their needs. It's usually an offensive line is their need. And guess what they usually do when that happens? They draft a defensive end or a bum like Eli Apple. So I don't know.
Hey, Eli Apple played better towards the end of the year last year.
He was so bad in the playoff game, though. He had 3 touchdowns.
Well, that's the thing. He got exposed.
Right. So, I mean, John, right now, Super Bowl prediction: Giants-Patriots. Is that what you're thinking?
That's what I picked last year. I'm going again.
They broke. Don't fix it. I think the Patriots will definitely be it. I mean, they've gotten better from the Super Bowl. So there you go. All right. And now another big thing that happened, in the last week was all this Beauty and the Beast controversy, and Josh Gad's character is gay, so there's a lot of controversy there. My take on this, John, and I don't care if people don't agree with me, is I'm not necessarily mad that there's a gay character in the fairy tale and whatnot. I'm mad because this is a remake of a movie which was a classic, which came from a fairy tale which is over 100 years old. And nowhere in the original fairy tale is this gay character. It does not exist. So why are they trying to remake something into some new sort of story? And this is a classic children's fairy tale movie. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why are you rewriting the script?
They do this all the time. They do this with Black Cinderella. It's this social justice warrior nonsense from the left where it's like it's hard to explain, but it's really like it's virtue signaling. Like we're so accepting. Look, this character, blah blah blah. Like I will take it one step further because I say this all the time. The left liberals are actually the more hateful and racist of anybody because they think that they're so enlightened that they're above it. But if you think about this character, it's like such a typical gay trope it's really offensive to actual gay men if you think about it, because he plays Gaston's little buddy who's like in love with Gaston, and like that trope of the flamboyant gay guy who's fiending after and in love with straight men. That's like offensive and not reality, and it was sort of portrayed in classic literature and classic TV and stuff as like a joke of over the top, like a Will and Grace type thing. It's actually really offensive. If you think about it, it's like the equivalent of like gay guy blackface. So, they do this because they want to be more accepting, but what they don't realize is they're actually enforcing negative stereotypes. And they do it all the time. And, I bring this example up all the time. The not having to learn English for an ATM or to press 1 for English when you call a number, they think that's being compassionate because they're helping people that don't speak English. What they don't realize is in the long run, what they're doing is they're impeding them to learn English, to motivate them to learn English. And what that does is, if you don't ever learn English, you stay in the bottom rung of society. You'll never move up. So you're never going to become the CEO of a Fortune 500 company in this country if you don't know English. And we have people like Manny Ramirez who grew up in the Bronx, who they're born in America and they don't speak English. That's a problem. And the left has created this problem, and it's perpetual. And they have this moral high ground. They think that they're morally superior to everybody, so they don't even notice it. It's such a mind bending, like the gymnastics they do to try to do this. And so let's make the guy in Beauty and the Beast gay. My thing is this: if you really care about gay rights and you want to include them in literature and pop culture, that's fine. Go write your own movie with a character who is originally gay. Don't just insert gay guys into something that's not gay. It doesn't work. It's on its nose. It's forced. It's not inclusion. It's forced. It's forced diversity. It's nonsense. It's just like a Black Cinderella. Oh, Black Cinderella, great, yay! too bad Cinderella took place in feudal England in the 1600s, where if she was black, she would never have gotten, a glass slipper. She would have just been a fucking slave. Like, it's so nonsense. And what they don't realize, that's not inclusion by doing that. All that is you're trying to rewrite the past. It's completely on the nose, completely flops. No one likes it. It's just a waste.
Yeah, and see, like, my problem is just why are we remaking these classic movies in the first place? And second of all, like you said, it's just being way too overblown. Did you see the movie?
No, they will not get my money.
Agreed. Not watching it. No interest. My girlfriend and I have free IMAX tickets. This is the only movie available on IMAX. The tickets expire this month. I'm thinking of not going to see the movie and letting the tickets expire because I just don't care enough. Now, you mentioned Manny Ramirez, and did you see his ridiculous new contract with this Japanese team he just signed with the other day?
No, I didn't. I do know that he was playing in like Chinese Taipei or some fucking crazy area.
Right. So he's going to be 45 in May. Still playing in Japan. Let me read you some of like the strangest things in his contract here. His jersey is just going to say Manny on the back. Like Ichiro, it's just Manny being Manny. Now this, you might like this part, John. He gets unlimited sushi all season. You're a big sushi guy, aren't you?
I do like me some spicy tuna, but I don't know if that's going to be in my contract. But yeah, I guess it works.
Well, if you're in Japan, I guess you might as well. I don't know. He gets hotel suites on road trips, so he doesn't need to have a roommate. It's not going to be in a regular room. He's going to be in a suite. So I agree with him getting that in there. He gets his own Mercedes, and he gets a driver. I mean, seriously, what are the odds of him finding his way around Japan on his own anyway? He definitely needs a driver.
Yep, that makes sense. And you know what? That'll keep him out of trouble. I don't have a problem with any of this. If Manny can still play, maybe he's like Babe Ruth over there. Who knows?
And last but not least, he got the Allen Iverson clause, which means optional practices.
Optional practices. I don't agree with that. I think if the team is practicing and you want to be part of the team, you got to practice.
Yeah, plus, I mean, they don't really practice too much in the regular baseball season. Anyway, there's not enough time.
Fly balls and stuff. That's all.
All right. So very interesting stuff there with Manny being Manny. As a reminder, Jamie's coming up in a few minutes, 8:30 to be exact, to talk about WBC. But John, let's talk about the other big news from today. The 2018 NHL Winter Classic will be taking place New Year's Day, January 1st, 2018, from Queens, the home of the New York Mets and 2017 World Series champions, Citi Field. Rangers taking on the Buffalo Sabres. What's your thoughts?
I like it. I think it's going to be good for, exposure. I've never been to one of those, but I hear good things. Everyone on my Facebook, when I wrote about that, how I didn't, never been. Everyone seems to really like it. It's cold as shit, but they seem to like it. I will not be going because I don't go to sporting events that freeze my ass off because it's just silly to spend money and freeze your ass off. But I will watch on TV.
It's really cold. I mean, that's the first thing. I went to the one in Philadelphia a few years ago, where we had the Rangers going into Philly, Citizens Bank Park, and beating the Flyers. Mike Rupp had 2 goals. Eric Lundqvist had a big save and a penalty shot. It was an awesome experience. Those Philly fans are brutal. They were like pushing me on the way out of the stadium because the Rangers won. Tons and tons of fun. But it was freezing cold. I couldn't feel my hand or anything. And I got in the car, we went, and we got a bunch of cheesesteaks. And then I finally warmed up. So I'm gonna try to go to this one at Citi Field, definitely. But here's the strange thing. Due to some sort of like tax exemption for MSG, if the Rangers play a home game outside MSG, MSG has to pay like some sort of ridiculous tax or something. So it looks like the Buffalo Sabres are going to be the home team at Citi Field. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I don't think that's a big deal because they're playing on essentially neutral ice, only because you're going to get a lot of people who aren't really hockey fans who want to go to this because it's like something cool to do. And it's not like it's home ice. It's ice that they put on Citi Field,
Right. And I think Matt Harvey needs to drop the puck, the ceremonial first puck drop. He's at the Ranger games anyway. If he's not there in his own stadium, what do you think about that?
As long as he doesn't hurt himself doing it, then I don't care. Then drop all the pucks he wants.
Well, listen, I mean, this is what I'm envisioning. You're there New Year's Day, and it's a bunch of Mets there. Harvey and some other guys come out on the ice with the World Series trophy to drop the puck. I mean,
that would be cool.
Awesome scene that would be.
That would be amazing. If that's the scene, then I'm all for it. I just, if the Mets win 83 games and don't make the playoffs, and then they send them out there, I don't like it.
Yeah. And I Lone Frog is posting a bunch of inappropriate pictures in the chat, so definitely not safe for work. But this guy, he's really enjoying our show. He's really engaged, and we thank him for that, for giving his comments. So thanks, man. And it's your first time here. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for listening to the show. Anyway, John, these commenters are pretty crazy in this comment section.
I don't read them purposely for multiple reasons, because then I'll get distracted, and then all you'll hear is click, 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 and me typing. There was one show where I got into it on somebody on Reddit during the show, and I don't even remember what we were talking about because I was too busy yelling at his asshole.
Oh boy, yeah, Reddit and all these people are crazy. But we thank our fans for listening, even if you're saying bad things. Hey, thanks, because you're the fool still listening to the show. Couple of minutes now, we're talking WBC. Once again, if you're just tuning in now, there was no 10 of 10 tonight. Our field reporter was suspended for a week, but he should be back soon next week, and he will be giving his apology. Isn't that right, John?
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. I think we'll do the ESPN treatment, where they, we kind of make them publicly apologize. Listen, you can't rage quit the show. I know shit happens or whatever, but once you get on the air, you gotta commit.
Right. I have a comment from the chat from I Lone Frog saying, "Guess who's on top of the NBA gay list?" It's obviously Jason Collins. I don't know if it could be anybody else. But John, we did mention the Rangers real quick. And obviously, once the playoffs come around, we'll be talking a lot more. They currently sit in the top wild card spot, 90 points. That means they're going to have to play the Capitals in the first round, which is not going to be good. I think the Capitals will easily beat the Rangers.
Yeah, that's not a good spot for them. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pull a Frances and pretend I watch a ton of hockey, but I do listen to Joe and Evan almost every day, so I do hear a little bit about the hockey.
Well, here's the standings for the whole NHL. Okay, you got the Capitals, most points in the NHL, 97 points. I mean, which is insane. Second place, the Penguins, 95 points, also in the Rangers division, Metropolitan Division. Third place in the whole NHL, the Columbus Blue Jackets, 94 points, also in the Rangers division. So you could tell they're in a really, really, really tough division. Then you got fourth place, the Blackhawks, who are my pick to win the Cup, 93 points, followed by the Wild with 92, then the Sharks with 91, then you got the Rangers with 90. So they're a top 7 team in the league, but because of their division, they're getting stuck in the wild card, and it's not going to be. But much more of that to come. And if you want to hear more sports talk, specifically baseball, check out the Mets cast coming soon to EliteSportsNewYork.com. And also, you check out the Elite Sports New York Players Tourney, Mr. New York. We're going to crown who is Mr. New York. The 1 seeds are Syndergaard, Carmelo Anthony, Lundqvist, and Odell Beckham Jr. But it's a 32-man seed bracket. You can check that out at Elite Sports New York Twitter. But, John, I think it's time to talk a little WBC. And it's great. It's been fantastic. And how much of this tournament have you watched?
Honestly, full games, almost none. But I go to strikeout.co, and I do watch some of them while I'm at work, only to pass the time. I do watch all the highlights. The other day I watched Familia get the save against America, and I was sort of happy, disappointed. I don't know how to feel, but so far so good. None of the Mets have gotten hurt, thank God. I don't like watching guys get hurt, and it's just because it's the World Baseball Classic. It's not the Olympics, so when guys get hurt, it's just terrible.
All right, and we got Jamie on the line now. Jamie, welcome back to the show.
Hey, how's it going? I just want to let you guys know some breaking news. Rays center fielder Kevin Kiermaier just agreed to a 6-year extension for $53.5 million. And I'm sure you've seen him on the highlight reels, won back-to-back Gold Gloves in center field, so that's a nice chunk of change for him.
That does not seem like enough, honestly. I'm surprised how little. This is a pre-arbitration deal, I guess.
Yeah, and he's also 27 years old. He has the guaranteed money and the guaranteed years, and the Rays, like you said, they get a good deal out of that. Premier center.
So now time will tell us, see how long the Rays keep him on this club-friendly contract before they trade him. But then again, they have kept Longoria all this time, so we will see. But 9 o'clock, USA is playing Venezuela. They need to win this game, Jamie, because if not, they down 0-1 real quick, and they got to go up against Puerto Rico, the best team in the tournament, who just beat the Dominican Republic. And who's pitching for Puerto Rico? Their ace, New York Mets pitcher Seth Lugo.
I think the real issue with this tournament is that the 4 best teams are all in the same bracket right now. Puerto Rico, Venezuela, U.S., and Dominican Republic. Going up against Felix Hernandez tonight, the question will it be prime Felix Hernandez of a few years ago, or will it be Felix Hernandez of the past few seasons? Drew Smile on the U.S. side is pitching, the lefty out of Tampa. So Venezuela clearly has the advantage in the starting pitching. The pitching for the U.S. is actually a weak point. So we'll see if the U.S. bats can muster enough together to get to Felix Hernandez early and get a much-needed win, like you said tonight.
Right. And the pitching's a disgrace. John, have you seen this roster?
Yeah, well, I was about to say, I understand why it is. As a Met fan, if you told me Syndergaard or DeGrom or Harvey or Wheeler were pitching in this, I'd be upset because in reality, watching any of these guys get hurt in this essentially pickup games, I know that they're interesting and it's sort of like the Olympics, but it's not. I don't like it, man. I know Nimmo hurt himself, and that's not the biggest deal to us, but
he's fine though. He's fine.
Yeah, he might be fine. I don't like it. And I think the reason that the pitching is so weak for America is pitching injuries are like a really big deal. I mean, pitchers always start slower than everyone else in spring training too.
This is what I have to say. I totally disagree because where are these guys? Where are all these guys' sense of nationalism? No patriotism for their country. Because if you look at the other rosters, the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Netherlands, Puerto Rico, they're all stacked with major league stars. So why do these Americans not care? Why is Syndergaard not there? He could be the closer. He can come in and throw 10 pitches at 100 miles per hour. Scherzer should be there. Arrieta should be there. Kershaw should be there. Verlander should be there. If DeGrom wasn't hurt, he probably would have been there. And I think if Harvey wasn't hurt, he definitely would have been there. What do you think about that potential pitching staff, Jamie? And why do you think that all these people are saying, just Americans, pitching-wise, saying we don't want to pitch, we're afraid?
Well, if you put the best American pitchers on this staff, they would be absolutely lights out. But pitching today is the most valuable commodity. And with pitching injuries being something that happens so often nowadays and pitchers being babied, these innings, especially this early in the spring, at a high level, pitching in intense games that will ultimately mean something as opposed to spring training, it could hurt the pitchers down the line. If you look at Harvey from 2015 season, he was stretched out, and Boris said that the Mets ruined Harvey pitching him that late in the season. So the carryover, it might not be into that immediate season, but if you look at the buildup of innings and innings under pressure, it can be something that carries over to the following season. And the question is, will those effects linger? Will it be something that hurts the pitcher in the long run? And I think a lot of these pitchers are worried, and they're so used to their regimen that going off the regimen is something that not only the team, the agent, but the pitcher themselves worry about.
Well,
Yeah.
I get all those points, but I don't understand why the rest of the world does not care. It's only these American players. It doesn't make any sense. Do you think that if the tournament was played in November after the regular season, I don't even think it's possible that could happen. But if it was, do you think we would see better participation from pitchers?
No, going back to what I said about extending the season with Harvey, those extra innings, it's
Right.
really
I
tough to.
understand that, but at that point, most of those guys are going to have weeks off. So my main question here is: do you think participation would be the same, or better, or worse if the tournament was moved to a different month?
The problem with baseball, the season is so long. I don't see the participation improving at all. I think they got it right with timing. This is the best time to run the World Baseball Classic, and
I got to say, I don't think it's a timing issue. What I think it is, we were just talking about, club-friendly deals. These guys don't make any money until they hit free agency. So if they, just say they blow out their arm and they need, Tommy John or something, they could potentially never earn big money because, they're not making big money off the bat. But what I think they should do is make it where it has to be amateurs, meaning that if you play in
that
the
would be
major
terrible.
league,
No one would watch it.
No, I think it could be interesting.
That's the Olympics. That's why they got.
that's the Olympics, and baseball in the Olympics doesn't really get a lot of attention. Ultimately, I think the big problem is that Major League Baseball is played in the United States. Yes, Toronto Blue Jays, Canada, I don't want to forget about you, but it's in the United States. So these players are all playing in the United States, which is already known as the premier place for baseball. America's pastime, it's baseball. So America, the USA, we don't feel, and I'm speaking for the players right now, we don't feel that we need to prove anything because it's America's sport. And year-round, all these Americans are playing in America, and they're playing Major League Baseball. These other countries, which players are defecting to America or immigrating to America, they have the support and the pride for their country to represent their country and say, listen, baseball might be America's thing, but we'll show you how it's done.
Right.
And they do it with passion.
I agree with that. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
The Americans, they don't care, and it's a big issue. And obviously the pitchers, they're afraid to get hurt. What really pisses me off is these two traders on the Dominican Republic team who didn't live a day in their life in the Dominican Republic. Dylan Betances, the closer, and Manny Machado. They're both Americans. They both grew up in America. They're both born in America, and they're playing in the tournament. Why are they not playing for USA? It should be illegal to play for another country if you were asked for your main country. It doesn't make any sense that this is allowed. Jamie, your thoughts?
So the WBC, the way they determine whether a player can or cannot play for a country is based on if that player is eligible for citizenship in that country. So, for example, Team Israel, there was only, and by the way, shout out to Team Israel. They did a heck of a job in WBC, won 4 straight games.
But, Jamie, I see the point you're trying to make. My point, I have no problem with players playing for other countries. But if you're asked from your main country, where you actually are resident, to play for them, you should have no choice but to play for them. You shouldn't say, well, I'm American. I never lived in the Dominican Republic. I didn't grow up there, and I've been in America my whole life. I owe everything that I have to America, but I'm not going to play for them. That doesn't make any sense to me.
It's difficult, and again, it's a case-by-case basis. At face value, this looks like a disgusting action, but who knows? Between the both of them, they could have had grandparents that grew up in the Dominican Republic playing baseball, and this was a dream of their grandparent or their parent. So, as an outsider, I feel like I'm not the right one to judge, but at face value, this does look like a disgusting action, and it's a disgrace as Americans they're not representing.
Damn right. John, what do you think? Do you think these Americans should play for America?
Nah, you know what? I going back to what Jamie said before, we had to take this game out of the Olympics because America was just kicking everyone's ass in it. So that's why I think it's not like such a big deal to play for Team America, because it's not the Olympics. It's something else. It's something completely different. If you play third base for Dominican Republic and the Dominican Republic wins the World Baseball Classic, that'll be a big deal in the Dominican Republic. If you play third base for America and you win the World Baseball Classic here in America, I don't know if that's a big deal or not. Honestly, I just don't. I can't tell you who won the last World Baseball Classic, and I watch a lot of baseball. The
Dominican Republic won the last baseball classic.
And I believe Japan before that.
Japan won the prior two with Ichiro. Listen, the U.S. is struggling in this classic, and obviously it's because they don't have their captain, David Wright, so bad decision there. But listen, if Americans were committed here, this is what their starting nine would be. You'd have Posey behind the plate, Goldschmidt at first, Murphy at second. Then you would have Arenado at third, Machado at shortstop, Chris Bryant in left, Mike Trout in center, and Bryce Harper in right field. Is anybody going to beat those guys, Jamie?
I don't see how it's possible. Like I said before, you put all the best Americans on Team USA, and nobody else stands a shot.
Right. So what do you think, John? You think that would be a nice starting lineup?
Absolutely. That's a bomb squad. You got a handful of Hall of Famers on that team. That's not really fair. But to make another point, if just say you did that where, all right, so if you play in the major leagues in America, and you born and raised in America, you can't play for any of the other teams. Teams like Holland and Israel, they wouldn't be able to field the team. It'd have to be.
That's not my point. My point is, like in the Team Israel and Italy case, if you're not asked from your country of birth and citizenship to play for them, then sure, you by all means go play for another country of your origin, like as in the Olympics and in the World Cup. But if your country of origin, a main origin, is to where you're born and raised and where you're a citizen, says come play for our team, you should have to play for them.
Yeah, you can't get too tricky on the have to play thing, because you don't want to force guys. This is an election thing.
That's how it happened. That's what happens with the Olympics and the World Cup of soccer. So I just don't see why it can't be any different. But listen, people have been complaining about this tournament, saying it's not legit. Well, then that means they just haven't been watching, right, Jamie? Because these games have been fantastic. I think the only issue is that it's only on MLB Network, and a lot of games are on at the same time, and there's no alternative to go watch it somewhere else. They need to have this on at least two channels.
Yeah, I think another problem is with Israel's pool, for example, being in Tokyo. They played at 6 a.m. today, and I don't know too many people that are going to get up at 6 a.m. to watch Japan and Israel play. Once it comes to semifinals and the finals, I think there will be a lot more viewers. But if you go back to the U.S. Dominican Republic game that was played in Miami, that was actually a record for attendance in the Marlins ballpark. A record. And Giancarlo Stanton and Kristen Yelich, two Marlins playing on Team USA, they said they have never seen an atmosphere like they did.
A quick aside, Stanton sucks, man. Like, he hits home runs, he's just terrible. Right, John? You think Stanton's a bum?
Yeah, well, his name is Mike, first off. I'm not calling him Giancarlo, because you're not going to change your fucking name after making a pro nonsense.
So Marlins Park drew 163,878 fans, and that's a new record from the WBC for the first round. Jamie, do you think the Marlins even see that many fans in a month?
You know what? Over the entire season, I think that's questionable.
I know, it's ridiculous. Another thing that really pissed me off, and John, maybe you could agree with this, but I don't know how much you watch. The USA is playing the Dominican Republic in Miami, in America, and it's like 95% Dominican Republic fans. Now, I know these guys aren't coming here from the Dominican, most likely. How many people are from the Dominican living in Florida? I mean, I couldn't believe it. And if they are Americans, I'm surprised they don't really anybody was rooting for America. It's a little strange.
Have you been to Miami?
Yeah, it's mostly Cubans.
Yeah, but it's not just Cubans. The Cubans, that was like the 80s when it was, little Havana. Now, the big block is Puerto Rican and Dominican. That Florida's big demo is Hispanic, man. If they played that game in Michigan or something, and it was all Dominican Republic fans, I'd be like, wow, that's surprising. If they played in Miami, I'm not surprised at all.
It was hard to listen to the game with all those vuvuzelas and stuff. It was kind of distracting. It felt like watching a World Cup soccer game in Africa.
I'm surprised the game wasn't televised in El Español.
It was ESPN Deportes, but this game we were watching obviously on MLB Network. And I don't know, Jamie. I don't think John Smoltz should be doing these games. He's just not entertaining to me.
You know what? I'm just happy it's not Joe Buck.
Should be Ron Darling. Ron Darling and Gary Cohen, live from the WBC.
Oh, the entire SNY crew is unbelievable, and nobody can even match up to a fraction.
Yeah, could you imagine Keith Hernandez during that game with the whole vuvuzelas going off? He wouldn't know what to do with himself. It would have been hysterical. Luckily, it's not Michael K. So I guess we're better off there, because then everybody would have been like, "See ya" to the TV and changed the channel.
Not Susan Waldman.
Right. So now, listen, I was looking through these rosters here, and the Chinese Taipei team, just incredible. They had 4 guys with the last name Chen. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys with the last name Lin, and they had 4 Wangs, 5 Wangs. I mean, it was just nuts. Are they related? I don't know. Just a funny little thing there. But they went 0-4. But let's talk about the story of the tournament, Jamie. Israel, they swept their pool. And now, fortunately, they lost to dumbass Japan. Let's hope Japan loses. I'm so sick of them. But the real story here is obviously Ike Davis being amazing and Staten Island's own Jason Marquez is dominating.
Yeah, so Jason Marquez pitched phenomenally, and he is actually considering making a comeback. So his appearances during WBC, it was pretty much a tryout. That's his spring training audition to see if any team wants to sign him. And at one point in Marquez's career, I believe he made the postseason 11 straight years with teams he was part of.
Yeah, he was crazy with the Braves, and then he was with the Cubs. Yeah, he had that crazy streak. Hopefully, something gives him a chance. If John Neese is getting a job still, I don't see why nobody wants to sign Jason Marquez.
John Neese is terrible.
Now, John, I don't know if you heard this story. I think Jamie was there, but he might have not been. We used to play schoolyard baseball at IS-75, and then one day we're done playing, Jason Marquez comes in while he's on the DL, and he does a bullpen session right in front of us in the schoolyard. It was pretty crazy.
That is pretty crazy. I don't know, Jamie. Did you play high school baseball for public school?
No, I tore my rotator cuff going into high school, so I tried out for the Tottenville team. I wasn't able to throw a ball. I made it to the final round. Unfortunately, I was cut, but I don't do much good not being able to throw a baseball.
Yeah, so Jamie's got a really bad shoulder, but he's very, very fast. He's a switch hitter. So WBC, let's look at the pools real quick. So Pool A, Japan and Netherlands advanced. And surprisingly, I don't think anybody except that really tall pitcher who's 7'1", Bonled Mark, whatever, from the Netherlands, is actually from the Netherlands. Everyone else is from Curacao, which is fine because it's through the Netherlands, which makes sense. But we got Pool F. Puerto Rico's 1-0. They beat Dominican Republic. And now we got U.S. and Venezuela. Jamie, how do you see this pool shaking out?
You know what? I think if the U.S. wins their game tonight, they'll ultimately win the entire pool, which pretty much to me means an automatic bid in the championship because this pool winner goes on to play the Netherlands. And I don't think the Netherlands has a shot against any of these teams, despite having a formidable infield. The rest of these 4 teams are too much of powerhouses.
Netherlands has Jurgensen profile, though. Fantastic top prospect. We're still waiting for him to bust on the scene. I think that Puerto Rico is going to win this pool, and I think Dominican Republic will come in second. And I think Dominican Republic will beat Japan. I think Puerto Rico will beat Netherlands. And I think we're looking at a Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic championship rematch. What do you think?
I think that'd be pretty exciting, especially for the Latin world. And in that rematch, I mean, I got to go with Dominican Republic if that does happen again. The pitcher for Puerto Rico the other day was actually a 31st round draft pick by the New York Mets about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
He's now 38 years old, and he managed to pitch 2 1/3 innings of 1-run ball against that.
He did look good. So I'm just waiting to see Dominican Republic's stud Bartolo Colon take the mound. I wonder if he'll face America when they play again. And obviously Seth Lugo, he's been incredible. But basically, this this tournament is filled with Mets or former Mets. Bruce Chen came out of retirement. He wore dress shoes to pitch at 39 years old. He was great. He shut down Cuba. But all these Mets have been incredible. Cecchini, Nimmo, T.J. Rivera, Seth Lugo. I mean, every team has Mets except the United States, and they've all been incredible. What does that say about the New York Mets?
We've either been doing something right or now we're doing something wrong. I don't know which one it is.
All right, and Jamie, we'll get you out of here on this. Your thoughts on Ryan Dempster and Eric Gagne playing for Team Canada?
Eric Gagne is actually considering a comeback, and at one time he was by far the best closer. I believe he recorded something like 60 or 70, or maybe it was even 80 straight saves. I like to see the two of them represent, and it'd be nice if Gagne came back because it'd be as a knuckleballer. So adding to the Wright and the Dickey representing with knuckleball. So we'll wait and see what happens.
All right, so there you have it. Hopefully Eric Gagne comes back and Jason Marquet. They're both in the MLB. Jamie, thanks for coming on, and we'll definitely have you on again soon to talk Mets baseball.
Thanks, Jamie.
So there you had it, Jamie Rosner and John. The fans are just loving this discussion tonight. We got Matty Clues and Hopper and Grump and I Am Lone Frog. They're just loving this show. So we thank them all for listening. Someone said that's probably why Otto was banned. We did not ban Otto from the show. Otto was on last week. He's more than welcome to come on whenever he wants. It just appears that he's not in the chat. And in fact, John, you and Otto have a pretty good relationship. Isn't that right?
We do quite a bit of tweeting. During the week, I listened to the show that I missed most of last week. And I sent out a pretty humorous tweet that people liked on Twitter. It was about his statement about lighting kittens on fire.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. All right, so we got a couple of minutes left here. Let's talk two things real quick. The 30 for 30, Mike and the Mad Dog. I'm very excited to see that. What do you think that's going to be a really good film?
I think so. If Mike can kind of get over himself a little bit and sort of give them some material to work with, I think it could be really, really excellent. And hey, maybe Mike's smarter than we think he is. Maybe he's using that as a platform to launch his new career. Because I don't see him staying retired in April. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, he's like, I'm not going to be doing radio day to day. So, I mean, obviously the guy's doing a podcast. What else could he possibly do? It's not like he's going to go into TV.
I don't know. I could see him doing some radio with Mad Dog, get back together and do some, serious stuff.
You think Mike's going to go on Sirius? It's a big step down for him.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If they pay him, what they'll do what they did with Howard Stern, where they just crazily overpay you just to tear you away. Give him his own station instead of having, make it the Mike freaking Francesa talk radio station.
I don't think anybody listens to. I don't know how many people listen to Sirius. You have Sirius, right?
I'm a big Sirius guy. Yeah, I got it. I listen to 125, 125. The Patriot has a lot of the good syndicated talk radio. We got some Sean Hannity there. We get the Breitbart News Daily. I like it. I listen to the sports because they do a lot of good sports. The kind of cool thing about Sirius is you can kind of listen to the local sports station from anywhere in America. You can listen to the Boston, LA. It's kind of cool. There's a lot of junk on there too. Don't get me wrong. I have like 400 channels. I listen to 3 of them.
All right. So, do you think it's worth the money?
If it's built in your car already, yeah, it's worth it $20. You won't even notice.
So there you have it. If you have Sirius eligibility in your car, pick it up. Tell them John sent you. Put in the promo code JOHNB and get 10% off. All right. So obviously, the other thing that we didn't get to talk about last week was Mike Francesa went in a big rant saying no woman is ever going to be able to coach in a major sports league, NHL, NBA, MLB, NFL. Now, people were calling him out a misogynist pig and all this, but, I think he was right. I just don't think it's ever going to happen. What do you think?
I completely agree. All these callers crying out, oh, they need the opportunity, blah, 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 blah. Like, shut up. It doesn't make any sense. Like it's just, the same thing as the gay guy in Beauty and the Beast. They're trying to like do some social justice nonsense. It doesn't make sense to me. And it's not because women are incapable of doing it. It's that they don't. First of all, they don't even play the same sports. They cannot play. There's no girls football league. There is no women's NFL. There's no women Major League Baseball. So they don't play the same sports. So that means that they don't coach the same sports: little league, high school, college, pro. So there's no pipeline for them. They don't have no coaching experience in these particular sports. They play sports that are like pseudos that are similar, but they are different. You can't play college softball and then coach a minor league baseball team. It doesn't work that way. The game's completely different. So, there are some similarities, but it's not even the same. And, college basketball is where you see it's like has the most similarities. But the game itself, listen, the girls can't dunk, so the game itself is different as well. And the WNBA is a terrible product. It loses money like left and right. There's not even an audience for it. There's not even women who are clamoring to be professional coaches. This is really just like some social experiment that, ESPN wants us to do. But in reality, there's no women who are knocking down the door because they want to work in the NFL. If there were, there would be Pee Wee girl football leagues, and there would be, high school girl football teams, and there'd be all of this, and there's not because there's no want, there's no drive. So until you see youth sports where it's girls baseball, not softball, baseball, and girls football, you're not going to see it in the pros. There's nowhere for them to get the experience. And you got to realize in the NFL, there's only 32 organizations, and each one of those organizations has a handful of coaches. So there's not, that's the top of 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 the world. How is a woman who's never had any lower level experience just going to walk in there and coach? It's nonsense. It's social experiment bullshit. It's just make believe, fake news. That is very fake news.
Yeah, so it got a lot of media attention, and I mean, when Mike Francesa says things get blown out of proportion. But I don't think he was too crazy with his statements. He might have not delivered it in the best way, but he definitely was right in what he said. USA about to play Venezuela, 9:00. It's not looking good, John. Dana Murphy's not even playing. I don't know what Jim Lehman's thinking, but you got to have the best hitter on America in the lineup if you want to win.
You got to have a lefty who rakes. All he does is mess up the other guy pitching.
Right. All right. So listen, our show, another great show. It's been 29 episodes of you and I together here on sports, politics, and more. We talked a lot of sports, we talked politics, and we talked more. And it's our show. We'll talk whatever the heck we feel like it. That's why you guys hired us. And listen, we want to thank our amazing fans tonight. Hopper, as always, one of our favorites. Matty Clues and I Am Lone Frog, who came out of who the hell knows where, but fantastic guys tonight. Bacon Eater, as usual. Thank you for listening. And it's been another show, John. It was good to be back together to do a show together. And the 10 of 10 is likely to return next week.
Yep. We'll get an official apology out of him. We'll make him do the shame walk from Game of Thrones, and he'll be back.
All right, everybody. Enjoy the World Baseball Classic. We know you will. We did talk more sports tonight, as we were asked to do last week. And, of course, you could enjoy the rest of your week. Hopefully better weather out there wherever you are as opposed to here in New York. And, John, we didn't even get to talk about how de Blasio quickly closed the schools, but it was a good decision by him. But we didn't even get into that. Next week, more sports, more politics, and, of course, there will be more on sports, politics, and more.
Waiting. listening to UCY.tv.